if you do not make time for health right now, you're going to be forced to make time for illness later.
Got questions, we bring the facts. From proven pros who walk the tracks. Business life, no smoke, just flames. Ask the experts, David Williams brings the game.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Ask the Experts. I'm Andy Arter, and I'm going to be your host today. And today we're joined by somebody who's on a mission to restore energy, vitality, and presence to busy parents everywhere. Our guest is none other than Dr. Taj Haynes, DMD, a dentist, okay? And that's how I knew you at the beginning, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. He's also a health coach, an author, which I've just started your most recent book and have been blown away. And he's helping parents and leaders overcome midday crashes, reclaim their vitality so that they can lead their families with power, presence, and purpose. And Dr. Taj started his career as an operations process consultant at Anderson Consulting before earning his degree from the University of Pennsylvania School of Dental Medicine in 2009. He went on to found the Modern Family Dental Care out of Charlotte, North Carolina. But after losing two friends to heart attacks and facing his own health decline, he experienced a personal awakening. Out of that came the Energy Freedom Formula and his complete cellular restoration process. These are frameworks that help parents create all-day energy without relying on caffeine or quick fixes. He's also the author of The Man's Manifesto, and wait for the subtitle, How to Become a Man in a World Full of Pansies, a love letter to his daughters, and a bold call for men to live with purpose, passion, health, and legacy. So we've got a ton to unpack today, from health and energy to fatherhood, leadership, presence. And let's give Dr. Taj a very, very warm welcome, and good to see you, Doc. How are you?
Andy, man, it's so great to be in contact with you again. I think the last time we were in contact was like 2017, 2018. So it just, man, I appreciate it, man. And thank you for the opportunity to speak with you.
Absolutely. I was thrilled to reconnect with you and then see everything that you've been doing since. And, it's been really good catching up with you over the past couple of weeks here. And, there's some here that know you and there's some that don't. So for the ones that don't know your background, we're going to get into 2025 and what life looks like right now. But can you just kind of rewind us back to what originally attracted you to dentistry? What did that transition look like for you? And why did you ultimately decide to go in and get your degree and become a dentist to start out?
Yeah, man. So it really goes all back to when I was a kid in childhood, and I grew up, my parents were separated. And I lived with my mom, then I had my dad. And so I always dreamed about just being a dad who was fully there, having a family. And now I would envision playing in the backyard with my boys, football, and hearing dad, hey, dad, watch this, and that wasn't just like a nice to have, man. That was kind of my why of why I wanted to keep moving forward and accomplish other things in life. And I knew that I just didn't want to be present, or just in the room, but I really wanted to be present with my family, So I did the right thing, man. I went to college. I got a good career as a professional consultant. And it kind of made all the long days kind of worth it in a sense, because I was working towards something, 12-hour, 14, 16-hour days. So after a while, you work hard, play hard. I just kind of realized that that lifestyle is not meant for me, as I got a little bit older and, when I started having a family. And so that's when I decided to leave that behind and let's become a dentist, because I really wanted to have more time with my family, not traveling all across the nation or the world, and have more control of my schedule. When I fast forward to when I was in dental school, now I was married to my beautiful wife, Tracy. That's when Olivia came along, my daughter, not a son, but my daughter. And I felt like I hit the jackpot, man. And I was a doctor. Now I was a husband. My wife was beautiful. And now I was a dad. And I remember I was holding her. She got back from the hospital and holding her little hands in my chest. And I was thinking, man, this is exactly what I've been made for. And then Alexia came along about 2-3 years later. And man, it's that my heart was overflowing. So instead of 2 boys, I have 2 girls. But the thing is, man, although I was on cloud 9, that's when I realized that I was breaking down my energy, and I was running on fumes. I was living that dream that I always wanted, but I started to kind of feel those cracks. And And you see it all the time, right? I mean, I couldn't even stay awake playing with my kids. And I was, shoot, man, 80 pounds overweight, dragging myself through the day, just kind of push through mode. And I tried everything. I don't know if you tried them, P90X, P90X2, the Insanity, all the hacks.
P90X, I remember that.
I mean, so, but it helped for a little bit, but it didn't work, So my dream of being a dad that I wanted to be was kind of slipping away. I felt, I was there, but I wasn't really there. And so, in life, I think if you looked at my life, and a lot of people did, my God, it looks perfect. But on the inside, man, those cracks were really starting to break down, and that's really what led me into, I guess, dentistry, but ultimately more of the old. What does health even mean in energy components?
Wow. So it's like you got it all on paper, doctor, money's coming in, have the family, but like what were there any moments for you where, I don't know, I'll be vulnerable to start. Like when I was super overweight, not that long ago, I remember being in my car, and I'm just being frank, my belly hung over the seatbelt. And I was like, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore, But it was also just these midday crashes. It was having a bad attitude and realizing that like it's not because I have a bad mindset. It's just my body's fighting me. It's upset with me. It doesn't. I haven't fueled this thing. So I'm curious for you, because I want people to be able to relate. There's a business owner on here. There's a sales producer. There's somebody who's in the thick of it, and they've got that that moment or that opportunity now to go like, I can change. So I'm curious for you, like if there was a pivotal moment or if it was just a experiential thing that was like weeks or months that went by. What was it that finally got you to say, like, kind of like somebody would put away like alcohol for good or nicotine? Like, what was it for you where you said like, all right, enough is enough?
Yeah, man. One event, and it was right around the time when we first met. Man, it was one summer. That's when it came crashing down, man. Godly, I was playing poolside with my kids, jumping in, just trying to kind of keep up. And then when I tried to jump in, my body wouldn't just elevate like I used to. And I dragged my foot across the harsh cement. Dude, man, blood was everywhere. I gashed it pretty bad. And then the water, the tomato soup, if you can picture that, man, that was embarrassing. And it was painful. At that point in time, you look at that seatbelt, like, man, it's impossible to ignore, right?
Mhm.
And that's when I kind of made my mind up. This is it, man, because the pain in my toe, yeah, it hurt, but that wasn't the real pain, man. It was the fact that I couldn't keep up with my own kids playing in the pool. I was in my 40s. But here's the thing, you mentioned it in the intro, is that what really twisted the knife around that same time, a really good friend of mine, he had two brothers that died from heart attacks in their 40s.
Oof.
Same year, man. So two just gone. And so that's, like I said, that's when it hit me, man. My medical degree, that the medical system that I trusted, it had failed me, man. And you see it when it came to my own health, and you just kind of realize that, okay, look, this is when I got to decide. I got to commit to no more excuses. This is it. No one's coming to save me. I got to figure this out. And what does real health look like? Because I don't want to survive. I don't want to just pad along. I want to thrive. So I found coaches and mentors and just start studying stuff kind of outside the medical system itself. And that's when it helped formulate me from my medical knowledge to the coaching I received, the mentorship to come up with that energy formula. And it's it's not about quick hacks, right? It's not about quick fixes. And that's what I tried to do in the past. It's really about rebuilding energy and health and vitality from the ground up.
Man, oh man. Well, I appreciate you like sharing that story too. Just the pool situation, and then it sounds like even beyond the pool situation, just the overall experience. I think the one that got me that you said was like two things, like can't keep up with my own kids. Like that's a real thing. I remember huffing and puffing with like when he was 3, thinking like I'm way too young of a dad to be huffing and puffing. And I had a buddy, you might even know him, Michael Schill, from the days we worked together. And he's like, how are you okay with that, man? And I think it was good to, have a friend in my corner. We don't always have that person that's willing to like tell us what they need to tell us when we need to hear it. And I always joke that like now that, I don't know if you've experienced this, you'll see people from your past life that say like, oh, you don't even look the same, or they'll even make almost a jabbing comment. You're skinny, compared to what you used to be. And it's like, why are you saying that now? But you never told me when I was overweight that I was overweight. Like people don't speak up in that situation. So really interesting to just hear your journey through that. And then I'm really curious how that, before we get into the methods, the lifestyle changes, what you're doing now, like what did it do initially professionally for you? Did you immediately go like, hey, I'm going to just like move my entire life out of dentistry and go pursue something else? Or was it, hey, I'm going to work on myself, and maybe that influenced your professional side? Like, I'm just curious how those two worlds kind of met in the middle, because, you're still working at that time as a full-time dentist, running an office, you got a staff, all that type of stuff, but you're going through this like life shift. So can you just talk through that a bit?
Yeah. So I think most people kind of think of their lives in just like chunks that you just got to deal with. So it's like I go to school, I get a job, got a career, I retire. I don't view my life like that. I see it as one kind of harmonious journey in a sense, like I'm a bird looking down onto me. And so, yeah, I went to college and then a consultant. I became a dentist. I became a parent. But all those things have a meaning, which is leading to me to something that I'm not quite sure that I even know what my destiny even is yet, but it's pointing me. And so I'm trying to listen to it. And that's where I become into the health coaching kind of side of things. And one thing that drives me, man, it's just being a parent, and that's the biggest joy I've had in my life. And I just sit back, like my daughter just got back last night from a 3-day camp or 2-day camp, and she missed home, but it was so great to hear her back. And the youngest one, she got together with my oldest one, and they were just talking, just jibber jabbing, just doing what they do. And I sat back and just kind of marveled. And then this is so cool, and so that's why I look at how dentistry comes. It's not I'm gonna be a 70-year-old dentist, I'm gonna retire, that's it for me. No. It's like, how can I be impactful besides someone who was in the consulting? I mean, I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't touching anybody's lives, but how can I be so impactful, so significant, where I can inspire people to have something that I think is so great and so precious with my family unit? Because any good father, good parent, and they that's what they want. They strive, and sometimes they hit that wall, get irritable, and they just don't know what's going on. But they just the brain fog and the pain, like I don't know what to do. So if I can help them create that, oh man, that's that. I'm just getting started, man, and I feel I got so much more to live, and I feel better. I'm turning 50 this month. I feel better than I did in my 30s, 20s, and 40s.
Oh man, when's your birthday?
The 24th.
24th. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's so awesome to hear. And I think that's like, people need to hear that. There's somebody on here who's 45, 55, 65. And, maybe they're just like, well, that's it. Like, I like my food. I love my kielbasa. I love my sausage and gravy. And like, I'm not going to change. Right. But being able to make that shift and say like, I feel better than I did a decade or 2 decades ago is like a very real thing. And I can see that in you too. Like, you always had great high energy, but this last time around I ran across it. I was like, whoa, he's on fire. And I think like one of the things that you said, as I, was reading a bit of your background recently and what you've been building, is that like a lot of parents and just adults in general, like are running on fumes. And, we could go deeper into that side of it, but I think we'll just call it like you said. I like that. They're running on fumes. And, the big thing is like, oh, get more sleep. And I'm sure that's like extremely valuable. I could certainly benefit from more sleep, but I think it's more than that. And I'd love to know from your perspective, like why better sleep isn't the only end all be all answer to like not running on fumes.
Yeah. So the metaphor I work from, I try to use real life metaphors. We're part of nature, and nature tells us a lot. We just listen and observe it. And the thing, when you're running on fumes as a parent, and I was feeling guilty. I was feeling really guilty that I wouldn't fulfill my obligation to 2 beautiful young little beings, man, and just who deserve so much more. And so the metaphor I like to use is that of a nice car, Ferrari. I don't know what your favorite car may be. High performance, though. Yeah. So if your body is a high performance vehicle, what do you do when you have that Ferrari? What kind of you got to do 3 things. You got to put fuel into it. Are you going to put this, the skunky gas, or are you going to put the high quality fuel into it? You're going high quality, right? So the fuel to the body is the nutrition, and a lot of times people put the poor quality fuel in. They give their pets better fuel than they give themselves. Right?
Yep.
And so now you're driving the car, and so when you're driving the car, you can drive it really, really hard. That's fine if you drive it hard, but you have to maintain it. right? You don't maintain, it's going to break down on you. So that
Mm.
to your body is your lifestyle. So I'm talking about the movement, the mindfulness, the sleep hygiene is a part of it. Even oral health has a big part on it as well. So you've got to have a good quality lifestyle that promotes maintenance and promotes well-being. The last thing is, now think about, you're driving that car hard, you got pour fuel into it, and all of a sudden you clog up the exhaust pipe.
Mm.
Yeah, now you're blowing up,
Mhm.
right? And so the
Mhm.
exhaust, think about the exhaust of our bodies. I'm not just talking about urination and going number two, but your overall detoxification drainage pathways. So yes,
Mm.
about your
Mhm.
lungs breathing, your skin, you got to sweat, your lymphatic system. No one talks about that, but that's what
Mm.
helps take all the toxins and bacteria out of your system. But you got to be able to move for that to happen. Kidneys got to pee stuff out, and then the colon is a big one. I mean, ideally, you should be going number two, 3 times a day. Most people, 2, 3 times a week if they're lucky. I have known people 1 time a month. And you wonder why we're crashing and burning and going on fumes, man. The fuel's bad, the maintenance is bad, and the exhaust is not existent.
You got 70 feet of junk tied up inside you.
Oh man.
You know what though? Like that is so real. And I know it's like we can all be like, ew, but like seriously, that's the real deal right there. And that's one of the things I found that's interesting about like intermittent fasting, which is something that I practice, is it like gives your body a chance to like clear out and reset. And when you become lighter and your organs come to life, like, you start cleaning. Your body is amazing. Like it does all these things for itself, but you got to make sure the exhaust pipes are clear. And then another thing you said, two things I really want to touch on there, right? Because I love the supercar analogy, right? Whether you're a Ferrari person, a Bugatti, whatever it is for you, like you got to have the right fuel. And we could definitely get into that piece of it, whether it's, better foods or cleaning out things that are processed or getting rid of chemicals or whatever. Alcohol, big one. But in addition to that, like you said, mindfulness and oral health, those were two areas I want to dive into. So first and foremost on mindfulness, I've always thought that there's a direct tie between, where you're at mentally, your cortisol levels, your breathing, that has probably a massive hormonal effect and things on your body. You mentioned mindfulness. So I'd love to know your mindset on that as a part of a health journey, not just, oh, I take protein every day. Like, what about your brain and where are you at there?
Got to be intentional about yourself. Our life, our society, our culture is stressful. Physical stresses, chemical stresses, emotional stresses, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of stresses. And so we're so focused on other people. I'm also focused on my kids. I'm focused on my friends, my family, my money. Man, all these different things are going on. And if I ask you, who are the 5 people that you take care of? No, who would they be, right?
Hmm.
A lot of times people answer that 5 names. Guess who's not on that list?
Them.
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 Yeah, that should be number one. That should be number one. And so, yeah, when you think about mindfulness, it's giving yourself quality time to sit, get one-on-one with nature, go for a walk around barefooted, meditation that works for you, guided or not. Be able to maybe even just like work out, incorporate that me time where it's just you. It's breathing exercises. Breathing is so important. In fact, a lot of people breathe with their shoulders.
Hmm.
This is all stress related. You want to breathe deep down into your gut. That's where the calming centers of the lungs truly are. And so you get a nice deep breath in. You don't got to do it for long. It starts to calm you on down. Anxiety can
Wow.
start going away. And there's more to it than that, but it's really just being intentional to learn how to your body responds to stress, how to start thinking about what stress is. Because really stress is anxiety is more of anything that kind of you're living in the present based upon being captive on the past, in a sense, right? I'm like, it's going to happen in the future, or you're hearing something in the past, like something's going to happen.
Mhm.
Uh, Depression, kind of same kind of thing. Is it's like, man, my current situation is horrible. Well, if you can kind of get into the presence and just kind of realize it is now, I'm focused on myself. You begin to get those skills where things happen, they kind of happen. I'm okay with it. That way, I'm not feeling the negative effects of what can be perceived as stresses. That makes
Hmm.
sense.
Yeah, no, it actually makes a lot of sense. And um, thank you for reminding me of the meaning of the word mindfulness. It's like being in the present moment. It's being, not identifying with your thoughts, kind of being behind the thoughts and like being able to observe the present moment. And you're right. It's so easy to just play the game. Like, I think in the short term, what's going to happen tomorrow? Oh, I could have done this better yesterday. But you also mentioned, like, I didn't want to just go, be a dentist till I was 70 and retire. But there's a lot of people that will live for that retirement. And then they'll at 70 look back in the last 40 years of their life and be like, I don't have anything to celebrate because I've been trying to get here so hard. I didn't actually just live my life. So I love that piece of it. And then oral health, with you being a dentist and understanding that world far more than a lot of us, what do you think are some of the biggest mistakes or misconceptions about oral health, and maybe some things that are, quick hitting for people to understand today, they can make a change against the mainstream?
Yep. So I gave you the analogy of the car, right? Basically, it was nutrition, it was lifestyle, it was like detoxification. A lot of times people think of the mouth as separate from the body, and, and it's not their fault. The reason it's like that is because if you think about the medical system itself, you have medical insurance, you have dental insurance. You don't have one health insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that plays a part of it all. And if you think about the oral cavity, or think about a hose, a garden hose,
Mm-hmm.
all right? You have the input and the output. And so this input, if you put pure clean water into it, what's coming out the back end?
Mm.
What's it going to look like in the inside? Pretty clean water. Now, if I start putting junk into it, I start getting the mold in my mouth and viruses and all this bacteria, and they're not taking care of it, and I'm putting stuff into the pipe, the hose. On the
Mm.
back end, we're going to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
On the inside, what does that look like? Your gut. What does your gut look like now?
Wow.
And it kind of make a full circle back to mindfulness and how anxiety, depression, and just mental alertness and how you're thinking about your day and emotional. And it's a strong correlation to your gut, to your mind. So you got bad gut, bad thoughts,
Wow.
inflammation as well, or the immune system. Like 70% of your immune system is in your gut. Poor gut health, your immune system's going down, and so you can't fight off diseases as well as or sicknesses as well as you before because you're not thriving in a sense. And when you get sick, what happens? It takes more energy. More energy, you get sick. Less energy, you get more. Excuse me. When you get less energy, you get more sick. You can't fight off as much. You get sick, sick, sick. So it's like a vicious circle that keeps going on and on and on. So when it comes to your mouth, the number one thing you do is take care of your mouth. Again, it goes back to the fuel. Put into it. That clear?
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. And I like when you talk about it from like a system standpoint. And you also talked about like just open it up about it, right? You're like mold, right? Um, Diseases, sickness, bacteria. I've even I met a guy who does like coconut oil pooling in his mouth, and he said that's supposed to be effective at like cleaning out things. And I don't know if that's true or not. You probably know better than I do.
Mhm.
But it's really interesting, the analogy of like the hose too, because I'm thinking about those of you who have an AC unit where you got to pour vinegar down the drain pipe or else it'll clog up with mold.
Oh,
Like you got to do that if you own a home, is like every 60 days, especially if you're in like a humid climate like where we're at in Florida. You got to keep the thing clean. And it's like one of those things that's easy to forget. But it's really interesting when you talk about the direct tie. And I think I've even heard things about like some of the old metal fillings people have. They've been getting them out because they might have literal heavy metals leaking into their body, and all of these things that like we weren't educated on. And then it goes deeper, and you're like, well, you got health insurance and you have dental insurance, and like they're not one and the same. It's super, super, super interesting. And I think that's one of the things, like if people engage with you, you probably get a lot more detail on, right? And help them sort of checklist that and figure out what they maybe have going on now that they need to change.
yeah, that's exactly right. So part of any kind of process, it's and that's kind of part of the formula there. The first part of the formula is calibration, and that's where it all begins because you have to uncover these hidden health drainages or this energy drains and things that are really kind of stealing your power. And
Hmm.
you kind of identify those. Then we talked about what's your why, what's so important to you, why you want to overcome these health problems, these energy problems. And when you can be honest with yourself, truly, truly honest with yourself, with you throw your ego aside, that's when you can begin to recalibrate, or the keys for calibration. Calibrate your life, recalibrate it to align with what truly matters. So yeah, that's a very, very first step that you got to do. I think even in a business, you got to do that. You got to figure out where you're at, where you want to go, what it look like to get there. Same thing in life, man. It's you want to do it.
Yeah, can you break down a little bit further and just explain for those those out there that don't know what it is yet, the energy freedom formula, like in really simple terms that people can use right away?
So this is something I developed, like I told you, just through all my experiences and my knowledge. And so the first C, it's 5 C's. The first C was calibration. You got to recalibrate for what really truly matters. The second thing is you don't want to. It's not choose. You're not trying to make a decision, but you really want to go for it and commit. That's stronger. Right? That way, I mean, if you think about it, you can't pour from an empty cup. So you got to stop trying to do that. Commit. Just don't do it anymore. You got to start feeding yourself that's really sustains you. And you got to say, no, I'm just done. I'm done running on fumes. I'm done running on empty, right? So you commit to it. The third C is courage. Now, to do this, I mean, I think you can testify to this, man. It takes guts. Yeah, but you got to step up. You got to make that bold, life-changing decision to remove all the toxins, the bad foods, all the bad inputs, have a good lifestyle. Because all that stuff it drains your energy and vitality. And so you got to have the courage to reclaim your power, because you see people over here living this life. You got to be able to have the courage to separate a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Once you do that, you're committed and you have that courage. The fourth C is now confidence. And this is just like when we learn how to walk, when we learn how to ride a bike, we learn in business. It's not about being really fearless in a sense, but it's about proving yourself over and over again that you can take that bold action, even when it's scary, even though it's against the norm. And you've already made the decisions, or committed to the decisions to make sure you do this. But it's like stacking win after win after win into your whole new lifestyle and how you're doing it, where you just get this unshakable confidence, like I'm feeling good. I'm going to keep on doing this. Because once you do that, man, then it's like celebration time, because you got through all the hard work and everything just comes together, and you can really just celebrate the transformation you're making. Like it's your transformation of your business. You're celebrating because you step into this whole new identity where you're fully empowered, and you're fully aligned. You're in touch with your body. You're feeling good, and you just feel like you're alive again. So that's the 5 C's, man. And and it's worked throughout the whole time, and then you just keep on doing it. And it just, here's what I know. Man, if again, if you take a step back and look at our medical system, our healthcare system, if you're honest, it doesn't work. People are more sick today than ever before. I have grown up with, I had never heard of half of this stuff when I was growing up. Now also we got these diseases. It doesn't work. But I tell you what does work is when you become your own best doctor and you treat healthcare as what you can do for yourself, and you do the things that are truly indeed aligned with what health actually is, and not go the medical system route. This will get your energy back. It will overcome illnesses. You will lose weight, and you know what you can actually avoid even going to the doctor, man. I mean, it works. It just works.
I like full-heartedly agree with you. And I really love that when you talk about this change, it's not for vanity. You're talking about shifting somebody's life experience. You're talking about reclaiming your energy. And I think that's a completely different mindset as well, because the whole vanity piece, I want to, have a 6-pack. I want to look good, whatever. I mean, that's all cool. Like, yeah, of course, like you want to look good and you should, and that's great. But at the end of the day, when it becomes more of, I want to feel better. I want to have better energy. I want to be there for my family, show up for my business, and be happier, like experience a more happy life because I'm not being dragged down by my vessel here, is a completely different motivation. And like when you go through this process of like, okay, I'm going to calibrate and then I'm going to fully commit to this thing, and I'm going to combine courage and confidence, first of all, to have the courage to make the change and do something bold, and then the confidence to follow through with it. And then celebrate. Like, I think there's a lot of celebrations along the way in doing that you start to realize, like, I'm built a little bit different. Like there's a bit of an ego to it. I think for a lot of people, that's like a healthy ego. It's a, wow, this is really against the grain. Wow. I don't see a lot of people doing this. And I don't know about you, but like going through that process, you don't have to wait until step 5 to truly like start enjoying it. I feel like it could be a few days or a few weeks for somebody watching this show right now thinking, oh, well, that's going to take 90 days. It's like, it doesn't take 90 days to feel better. Like give it a couple days, make some changes. And like, you can begin to like, get your energy. But you talk about something called earn your energy, which as soon as I read that, I kind of was thinking of cheap energy. I was thinking of the caffeine hit. I was thinking of the late night Netflix binge with sugar, like the crumble cookie of the world, for like cheap energy shots. But when you talk about like earning your energy, that's another really interesting element to this entire deal. And I'd love to understand that more, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So kind of what I was explaining right there is people go right, you want to go left. Don't follow the herds. And when you do that, there's some natural resistance. And so going this way, you got to go against that resistance, that wind resistance. There's some energy and work that needs to be done in order to make it happen. And if you think about just our culture, society, people love to go out and eat these great foods, have pizza parties with wings and beer, and this is ball games. This is great. It's fun, totally fun. And so when you go against that and you're all ball out, people look at you kind of weird because they don't truly understand. Like, come on, just live life. I am living life. I'm living great. Because that's our society is built on what? Convenience, the instant gratification. It tastes good. It's all right now, right? And the thing is if you start living that, we don't begin to question what that looks like on the impacts of what's it costing me in the future, my future life at that time, right? We kind of pull back from. I know you drink beer all the time; it's bad for me, but we don't really think about it as common sense. And so, really, it comes down to earning is more of a willpower in a sense, just a strong belief that you're doing the right thing because you want to live a long, successful, good, high quality life. And so it's really realizing that, hey, I'm doing something different. I may be the outcast, but here's what I do know. Here's where the confidence, not so much ego like you're saying, but I know that when people see me, like, whoa, you do look different. Whoa, man, I can see your skin glow. Whoa, man, you look pretty amazing. I know my family, my friends, people around me, they're like, man, I haven't seen Taj for 30 years. Man, they're watching me and they see that, hey, they can feel my power. They're going to feel my presence. And then when you start interacting with me, you're going to feel my purpose. So yeah, man, so that's what I mean by earning your energy.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I also love that you said, what is it costing me in the future? Like asking yourself that question, that's super powerful to ask yourself that. It made me think of like credit cards. And it's like, I know I shouldn't run up this $1,000 bill on this Amex, but I'll just pay for it in the future. Now here's another one. All of a sudden you have an $18,000 credit card bill. You're 21 years old. You're making 15 an hour and you're like, I'm about to go bankrupt. Like, it happens to people with credit, but then like it's happening on this side where it's like, well, it's just one pizza party. Oh, it's just one, turns into 2, turns into 10. And it's like, man, what if you could talk to the 70-year-old you and have them be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Cause like, I want to like what you're doing now, but I don't like what you're doing to future me. It's an interesting perspective.
Yeah. Heart disease doesn't happen overnight. Energy crashes don't happen overnight. It's the accumulation of this chronic abuse of your body that all of a sudden one day you finally manifests itself and like, oh crap, I have this. I have no energy. Put it this way, energy. If you have no energy in your body can't produce energy. You're no longer here. So energy is health. Period.
Jeez, that's thank you for that. That's a gut punch right there. And the truth. And then for you, when you kind of look at this whole situation and what you've been able to do in the last, couple of seasons of your life, obviously you've made some massive changes, and I can see it in you, not just in your energy, how you look, everything, your presence. And one of the things you were explaining to me is this book, The Man's Manifesto, which I just started a couple of days ago. And the first chapter was talking about laying a foundation with faith and with God. And that was like, I didn't know what I was walking into, right? I downloaded the book and I started to listen to it. And I went, whoa, he's starting with a foundation of God and faith. And I wanted to dive into that just with you for a moment here. and how faith has kind of influenced your journey as well, and like where that all maybe fits into this big picture.
Yeah. So living life, you got to have some core principles. What values do you live by? What do you turn to say, I want to be, that loving guy. I want to be that good friend. I want to be that strong husband. I want to be the person who's doing good to society. Right? And you can have opposite values and you live according to those values, but those are the values I have. And so some people get uncomfortable with the fact of Jesus, Christianity, religion, period. It doesn't matter. But here is what's so powerful about the Bible itself is that book is nothing more full of principles for spirituality, physical health, family, love, finances, all principles that you extract them out. I don't care if you believe in Jesus or not, but you extract them out, and those principles you live by, they work.
Hmm.
And that's what the whole first chapter was about. It's like, hey, let's pull out these principles and to live by them, because that will allow you to be, a very, very strong leader, father figure, a man in today's world.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you for that explanation, because when I look at like the impact that you're making, the people that surround you, where their lives are changing, and I look at your journey, the one thing that keeps standing out to me is that this isn't, well, I have my business and my family and I have my hobbies, and then on the side, I have my health. It's like, no, like you have your life. And like what you talk about is the entire deal and how it all fits together. And it's one thing. So for you to start with like the foundation there and then build up on these different principles is awesome. And I think that's the way that this is a life shift, and it should be super exciting. Yeah, it takes courage for sure. Yeah, it takes confidence, but how much more exciting to say, I'm about to change my life. I'm not going to like work on my health. I'm going to change my entire life. It's a big deal,
Huge, man. I'm from this day forward, I'm gonna kick some butt, man. I'm gonna feel so good. I'm gonna do it. I see a little deficiency. I'm gonna nip in the butt and just go for it.
100%, 100%. And can you give some like, I know this is like what everybody does, give us some practical exercises, but do you have any like tiny challenges or exercises that maybe, anybody watching this today could like start with today, let's say, just to start making some change?
Yeah. So you mentioned challenges, and so that's exactly what I have to do in terms of my health coaching. And so, what's a tiny challenge, or all this is a short period of time, 5 days, in which I just try to add a lot of value and help people are really busy parents, even professionals who are feeling guilty because they're living on fumes. We learn it, I call it the crush the fatigue in 5 day challenge. And it's no fluff. It's action packed one-on-one coaching. That's pretty much what it is. And it's like a reset. Because if you're done feeling like a zombie by 2 p.m., then this is really for them. And in those 5 days, like you mentioned, I mean, you kind of uncover some of the leaks that drain the vitality. You can learn how to kind of ditch those crashes. And you just kind of build simple, sustainable plan to kind of still stay fully charged without relying on the caffeine or the quick fixes. And ultimately, what it means is that people will be able to walk away feeling like the partner, the parent, the professional that they've been too tired to really become. Now it's powered by real energy and just no artificial highs. And so that's what it is, man. It's just a real strong, intense 5 day period of time in which can help impact someone's life to improve it.
Mm. That's incredible. And I want to get your info out there towards the end of this, just to make sure people can connect with you. And one of the things too, I would encourage people to check out is the man's manifesto that you would put out. As I get deeper into it, it's awesome because it's like a very extended version of this conversation with all of the detail and the roadmap and everything to really, dive deep into it. And one of the things you mentioned to me, I think, is that your daughter has kind of inspired you to write it, right? Is that how it went down? I'd love if you could just like share that with the audience. That would be incredible.
Yeah. Okay, so one of our strong values I talk about in the book is we sit down for dinner, family dinners, all the time since we were little. No TV, no distractions, no phones, no electronics, nothing. We just sit there and just talk. And from the very beginning, we would ask questions. What are 3 wins you have today? What mistakes did you make? What did they teach you? What did you learn today? What you work hard today? Just growth-minded, grateful type of questions, gratitude.
Mm.
And our conversation went to like boys. And it's like, Daddy, how come boys don't talk to me? Because I think she's beautiful. She's smart. She has a lot of presence about her. I said, well, boys, they don't know how to talk with anybody, and they're kind of just like pansies. Like, what's a pansy, Daddy? Well, there's just, they don't know how to step up and be a man or a big boy and talk to you. Oh, Daddy, like mic drop. You should write a book. I'm like, ho. I'm not an author. I don't know how to write too well. No, Dad, serious. You're gonna write a book. And so that challenge inspired me. It was the seed for me to do it because it wasn't so much about me writing a book. I didn't know what I was going to write about. It just kind of came out of me. I'm not the world's best writer by any means. I just spoke my heart. And so that little challenge was more about, hey, my kids see something in me that I don't even see in myself. And so I wanted them to realize that, hey, in life, that will happen. And if you just step up and do it, don't be all talk and do something, that it can happen. And so they saw me do it and they're all proud. You did it. Yeah, I did it. And so my dedication to them and all this has become was a love letter to them. And my hope and desire is for them to find a man who I value. I think of myself as I treat my wife, I treat them, and I have developed this, I think, this wonderful thing that will treat them the exact same way and have the confidence to walk in that light. And that's how it kind of inspired me. And over the dinner table, one of the things that I talk about in the book, man, I think it's so powerful.
Thank you very much for sharing that. That's awesome, by the way. I love that. And I love for them to see that, right? That they had an idea, they can be involved and inspire you to do something, but then you follow through with it. And just setting that example, like it's a lot of what I'm thinking about too, as you're talking is like, who are you showing up as a father and a husband, as a business leader? And how much more does that rub off on other people so that when they grow up, now they're going to have these principles in place. They're going to have a standard for, men in their life. They're going to have a father who set a standard for health and energy and presence. And it, people talk about legacy all the time. Like it has to do with how much money you pass down. It's like your legacy is so much bigger than that, and I'm hearing this and I'm thinking to myself, wow, like you could have just stayed on the path you were on, but you're actually building a different type of legacy for you and your family. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. And I'll definitely post out the Amazon link and everything to your book down below as well, once this goes on a restream later. So anybody in the audience watching, wondering where to find it, you can definitely look it up on Amazon, Dr. Taj Haynes, but the Man's Manifesto, or just reach out to me and I can send you the link over. But no, that's really, really cool. And have you seen any shifts in your family and the way that they are around you after these changes that kind of stand out as like, I don't know, here's what I'm trying to get to. Have there been moments for you with your family where you made a shift, things starting to change, you're starting to get more present, you're starting to have energy shifts, and there was like stuff that you had to work through from the past, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's always identifying. Dude, my kids are 100% better than I was at their age. They're 17 and 14. My daughter, we're applying to colleges, there's no way I could have competed with her to even get into a college. And so I look at her, man, and I'm like, wow, she's doing it. And so for me, even to this current day, how she's on this pathway, I need to make sure that I just continuously work on all my deficiencies or get better. It's like life is a ladder, right? I'm here and here. I got to keep improving because she's already here. I'm here. Well, I got to keep inspiring her to get a point because there's going to be a point in time where she's over me. And that'll be an amazing accomplishment. I want that so bad. So yeah, there's anything in life, man. It's the physical stuff. It's the health stuff. It's the mental game. Mental game is so big. It's having a business or how to manage money, whatever it is. I'm always trying to learn how to improve myself to make it better. Because when I do that as a leader, everybody else as follows. I'm the captain of the ship. My kids will follow me. My wife will follow me. And it's not like I'm being, like a dictator, but hey, we're going this direction. I got to make sure we're going to be on that level. And when we're on that level, we got to get to the next level. So it's all facets of life.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's huge. It's like you all lift each other up, and it's this family of growth, and you create that culture of growth. And that starts with you. And, as parents, you guys being the leaders in the household, like setting that example is so huge. I don't know if you remember that story from Ed Milet, where he talked about some guy at a gas station, like kind of bad mouthing him and his son, and kind of humming and hawing about, how progressive people are and all these things. And I think Ed had turned to him and said something like, "Hey, when did you stop growing? Like, when did you decide to stop growing?" And that really hit me, that it was like, wow, like there's somebody at whatever, who's 50, 60 years old. And you've got Ed saying, like, when did you decide to just stop in the tracks and stop where you're at? And it's like, whoa, wake up call. You've always got time, but you still also have to like make time to be different, to change, to grow. And it's a decision. It's a very intentional, versus like, I checked out when I was 48 years old and I just like, rode the wave for the rest of my life.
Perception is projection.
I'm writing that one down.
Yeah, man, thanks for sharing that story. That's powerful. When did you decide to stop growing? Wow.
Yeah.
When did you decide to just give up on yourself?
Yeah. And I bring that up because I think that there's so many people, like there's definitely somebody out here, maybe 5, maybe 10. I don't know. There's somebody listening right now that's like, man, I know I need to change. Like they're in that spot where they're like this close. And like, if you were to say something to that, let's say that parent, and they're like, oh, wow, you guys, like, I'm in it right now. I'm feeling it. I'm on fumes. I'm mentally screwed up. Like I'm feeling so negative about my situation. It's hard to pull myself out of the rut. Right. Cause sometimes you get in that pattern. Like if you could say unfiltered to that individual right now, something that would hopefully get them to, push over the line, even though it's going to be up to them. They got to make the commitment. But if you could give that person a gut punch, a wake up call in a positive sense, what would you say to somebody like that to kind of get them to go like, oh, this is maybe my day?
In the spirit of complete love and just trustworthiness, some people may take what I'm about to say as like, you know what? I hate that guy. However, I'd rather you hate me now and love me later versus love me now and then hate me later because I'm not telling you the truth. And it's simple. If you do not make time for health right now, you're going to be forced to make time for illness later.
Wow.
Make the time. No more excuses. Just do it. Man, health sounds way more fun than illness. It is, man.
Wow.
You lived it. I'm living it. It's amazing.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for that.
At 4:30. You keep going all day. You get tired, but you can go.
100%. 100%. And that's man, if you don't make time for health right now, you're gonna have to make time for illness later.
Yeah.
Man, that's so real. That's so real. And when people want to get engaged with you, you had mentioned kind of like a first week challenges and going through and doing kind of a reset. So while we have a little bit more time together, there's so much more. Like we might have to have you back. I have a bazillion questions I wanted to ask you, and the clock keeps on ticking away. But I do want to give individuals an opportunity to reach out, because what you said resonated so deeply with me. And I think there's a lot of people that they don't need another P90X. They don't need a, what was that thing? The Bowflex infomercials. That's not going to solve their problem. They need to make a shift from the inside out. And, with the love and the approach that you take and how personable you are, I think it's pretty rare to find that. Especially from somebody who's like transformed themselves in a real life situation. You're not, let's face it, like you and I are not 22 years old. We didn't grow up going D1 football and we started a fitness brand, right? You're out there professional. You've gone to dentistry school, become a dentist. You've led people, you've had businesses, you've got a family, and you could easily sit back and say like, yeah, I'm on top of the world. And instead you're like, no, I got to rebuild this whole thing. So I really want people to be able to engage with you. And I'd love if you could explain a little bit about some of the different resources, the programs, how they can get a hold of you, and just kind of shine a spotlight on you so that people can find you, doctor, and, get a hold of you and work with you.
Yeah, quite simply, you can go to drtajhaynes.com, drtajhaynes.com. And that there's, it's a little page about me, about the challenge that I put on. And the cool thing about these challenges is that, we're going to focus on energy, get you a little bit healthier. But the 5 days, it's completely one-on-one and it's no cost to you. Now, I can't do a million
Mm.
given the spots are limited every single week, but 100% I'll be happy to work with you. You can register for for the challenge. There is that exactly what it is. You can register at the bottom, a little bit of my story, the kind of path, the whole energy for freedom formula, and then you just put your name and email in there. You get an email. You can register for it. You get a calendar. We'll work together. I'll be happy to work you out. If you have any kind of questions, you can contact me on social media there. Facebook is probably the best. You can contact me directly, buy my book. So yeah, just reach out. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. And yeah, I love meeting new people and engaging with them.
That's incredible. And I've worked with you. We worked together, like you said, back in I think it was 2017, 2018. And you're also, to your credit, just a killer business leader and entrepreneur. And there's a lot of individuals in the dentistry space that sort of, they come in from a dental perspective, a health perspective, and they don't know how to scale a team, lead people, build systems, hold a culture in place. So that was another very interesting component of just your life and who you are. And I was super excited to have you in here too, because we have a lot of business owners, a lot of people in sales, running companies, some small, some medium, some large. But, I've always felt like especially for you, like business owners, entrepreneurs who are also family men or family women, like you start to look at your situation. And I can tell you from experience, if you get your energy right and you work on that first and foremost, everything else is going to go up. Your business will go up. What you show up in your business with your employees and your team members is going to be completely different. Everything is going to rise with the tide. So, if you're out there thinking like, what is the missing component? I've got the sales team. I've got the systems. I have the marketing. I have the knowledge. Like we got the brand, but I'm not loving life right now. And we're not able to, grow in the way I want to. You might be the one that looks in the mirror today and goes like, I think it's me. I think I've got to correct some of my energy. And so I think that'd be good for anybody to know too, Dr. Taj. It's just that if they link up with you, it's not like you come from strictly a, medical perspective. You've been a consultant, you're a business owner, business leader. And that's a really interesting component, I think, for some of the other business owners on here, that you'll be able to actually like understand what it looks like to be an entrepreneur and pull this off. Cause you had to, you couldn't sit down and go like, well, I'll let my daughter run the dental clinic while I'm fixing myself. It sounds like you kind of built the plane as it was going off the cliff, right?
Yeah, don't be like me. When I was in my 20s with the consulting career, I was so tired. I'll go in the bathroom stall and take a 15-20 minute nap.
Mm.
I wasn't showing up. I wasn't showing up for my professional career. So don't be like me. I mean, just make that change that we talked about in life, and it just gets much better.
Mm. I can see it too. I can see the smile because you're just like, I'm loving life. And that's like what I'd love to see for everybody. So I love it so much. And I appreciate you coming on and, your valuable time to be here. I'm really, really encouraged about what you're offering too. And, I'm hoping for a lot of people to contact you, get a hold of you. I'd love to engage with you and just really look forward to seeing, the rest of your journey and what that looks like over the next year, decade. Who knows how many decades, man? We're entering a time where, we might be living past 100 these days. I don't know. We'll see.
Go for it. I'm going for it.
Yeah. My son, I said, how long do you want me to live? And he said, 120. I was like, that's a tall order, buddy, but we'll give it a shot. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to add before we go? Anything else you want to say out? It's just a final thought before we close up today.
Andy, no, and great questions. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I had. I appreciate the opportunity. It's just great speaking with you, and hopefully people got some value out of this. That's the main thing. 1, 100, 1,000, beautiful.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I got a ton of value, and I know a lot of others did as well. So you're awesome. I really appreciate you. I'm grateful for you, and everybody else here watching. Make sure you reach out to Dr. Taj and show him some love for all the value he dropped today. Link up with his book, link up with his coaching. And again, drtajhaynes.com. That's drtajhaynes.com. HAYNES.com, and I'll link it below. And then we'll be back next week, same time, same place at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time for the Insurance Syndicate. Ask the Experts. And then also, we are now on Spotify. We're on Apple. There's a actual audio of this. So if you search us on Spotify, it's Ask the Experts. And you're going to find, I think, the last dozen or so episodes on there as well if you missed any of them. So, Dr. Taj, thank you again. Really appreciate it. And everybody else, have a wonderful rest of your week.